Moments ago in Detroit, the FBI labeled the recent attack on a synagogue in Michigan as an act of terrorism inspired by Hezbollah, the Iran-backed militant group. Investigators also detailed their findings on the suspect's online search history. Take a listen.
A review of his online activity since January 2026 revealed a reoccurring search history of pro-Hezbollah news channels, Iranian news channels, and videos about shootouts and bullets. He regularly consumed breaking news and statements and live coverage of the current Secretary General of Hezbollah, Naim Qassem, and viewed news coverage about an Iranian fatwa for total jihad against the U.S. military.
I want to bring in Anna Schecter, the senior coordinating producer for our crime and public safety unit. Anna, investigators found a lot through the suspect's internet activity. What stood out to you?
Well, just the fact, and we've reported this before, that on March 5th, an Israeli drone strike targeting Hezbollah outposts in southern Lebanon hit his two brothers, who we reported were members of Hezbollah's rocket unit, and other family members, including two children. And so after that time, he started making these videos and talking about martyring himself, talking about trying to kill as many Jews as possible, sending those videos back to family members in Lebanon. So that definitely jumped out at me. We had early reporting, and we were first to report some of those details a few weeks ago, but now we're learning more about what exactly was on his phone. And one thing of note, though, the March 5th date is important, but his search and browsing history, kind of looking into Hezbollah and pro-Hezbollah news and the Iran war and sort of showing his inclination, that goes back to January. That's according to what the FBI found. So it actually predates that March 5th strike that killed his two brothers and their two children. So all of that stood out to me. They laid all of that out, and our own Jonah Kaplan heard from the U.S. Attorney earlier today. So we had advance warning that this was coming, Liz.
You know, Anna, we've talked about this before. When the war in Iran began, there was concern that it would inspire these rogue individuals or groups based here in the U.S. to conduct these types of attacks. I'm curious what you're hearing from law enforcement agencies around the country on how they're preparing for potentially more of these types of attacks on American lives.
Well, this is a great question, because we are in this heightened threat environment, which became more heightened after the launch of the Iran war. And when we talk to these larger police departments, so look at the NYPD, they have their own counterterrorism division led by Rebecca Weiner, and they have hundreds of agents solely focused on deterrence and threat mitigation. What do I mean by that? They are combing through Telegram and other online platforms where they know extremists come together and talk about potentially carrying out plots. And that's why we sometimes see these plots thwarted in advance. Now, here is a case that is most scary for law enforcement. You have somebody who, with ties, his brothers are members of a designated, U.S. designated foreign terrorist organization, Hezbollah. How do you handle that? He is a U.S. citizen. He was obviously extremely affected by the killing of his brothers. And then you have, but he wasn't on the FBI's radar enough so that they could monitor these communications of his back. And it's this push and pull between civil liberties that we have in this society, where citizens, and really most people, but especially citizens, have the freedom of speech and the like. And then there is the security question, and it's this constant push and pull balance, and law enforcement and security officials are constantly having to navigate that and kind of find the middle road and find the right way through. And clearly this should have been caught, and it wasn't, unfortunately. And thankfully, you know, our investigators have told Jonah Kaplan that actually the sprinkler system installed in that synagogue likely saved a lot of lives, because it prevented the fire from getting worse and also prevented the explosion of those fireworks that he had in his truck from really wreaking even more damage. Although we saw a few weeks ago when the synagogue released those photos, lots of damage from the fire. It's going to be many millions of dollars and months, maybe even more than a year until that building is back up and running.
But the folks there are so fortunate that this could have been much, much worse. Anna Schecter, thank you so much.